I hate that I have to kind of put a final nail in the coffin on this issue today because it's a very horrible one. But Facebook and Instagram have permanently shadow banned us. I don't even know where to start on this. You may recall that in October, we noticed that the videos we would post to Facebook got 98% fewer views. In fact, we have an image that we're putting up on the screen here. This is a chart of our Facebook video views. And you see that everything's going along fine. And then October 18th, ba-boom, what happens? They just go away. Very similar numbers on Instagram. We look around, we ask, we contact Facebook. No, sir, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We recruit some Facebook employees in our audience to try to submit internal appeals. What's going on with this page? All very mysterious, but we can tell we are shadow banned. Our content is not being recommended. We then figure out, oh, we are shadow banned. This is something that Facebook calls not recommendable. And we're putting that up on the screen. And very slyly, Facebook has now inserted a new reason why you might not be recommendable. Obviously, all the old reasons are there. You're spreading disinformation or there's inappropriate content, or you deal in civics. You deal in civics. The primary subject matter of your content is civics. And I thought, this is really weird because Facebook has not put out a statement about this. And now the following. This is NBC News. Instagram will stop recommending political content. Remember, Instagram and Facebook are both owned by the parent company Meta. And if you look at this article, the article explains this is it for political content on Instagram and on Facebook. And they actually mention here, well, a lot of people don't like politics. They don't want politics shoved in their face. So only if you opt in will you see political content. What? By the way, they are doing the exact same thing on Facebook. It says the same control will roll out on Facebook at a later date. So and by the way, look at this. Instagram defines political content as potentially related to things like laws, elections, or social topics. If you talk about the law, by default, your content will not be shown, will not be recommended on Facebook and Instagram. If you talk about elections, oh, I don't know, we have maybe the most important presidential election of my lifetime coming up in 9 months. Oh, no, people don't want to see that. We're not going to recommend that. Any social topic. Oh, what about abortion? What about free speech? What about cultural issues? No, people don't want this stuff shoved down their throats. They are permanently shadow banning political content on Facebook and Instagram. This is not just a crisis for our show. About 15, sometimes 20% of our revenue used to come from these platforms. Gone. Bye-bye. You produced the wrong type of content. We should be doing makeup tutorials, puzzle building on screen, and pranks. By the way, all that content is fine. But that's what people want to see, so that's what we will recommend. But content of value in terms of getting people engaged with the political system, getting people engaged with the structures that determine what their lives and the lives of other Americans are like, a lot of people just don't like seeing that. So by default, it's going to be banned unless people go and opt in to see that sort of content. So crisis for our show, because now we've got to find 20% of our revenue to make up. I would argue a cultural crisis. If we have gotten to the point where the platforms say, so many people just don't want to hear about what our elected officials are doing, what the Supreme Court is doing, what educational infrastructure is doing, we're going to default to that's off. How disastrous is the situation in the United States of America that that's where we are? So what do? Well, we need to find new platforms. Hopefully there will be platforms. I mean, listen, you look at what we're doing on Snapchat. Our Snapchat has been growing. Maybe there are platforms that will welcome this type of content where we can reach people and say, hey, rather than tuning this out and going to the, hey, we sent somebody a glitter bomb in the mail sort of content, which, by the way, it's funny. I'm not saying bad things about that content, but in terms of its importance to figuring out what the world we live in is going to be like, I think we would argue it's not quite as high on the list. That's what people want. We've got to find platforms that will say, hey, no, we are going to prioritize law, elections, social issues. That's important. And we need to continue shifting our support to our website. I'm so sorry that I have to mention that, but this is the reality. As I've said before, every one of these platforms at different times has shut off the revenue. Now it's Facebook. So if you care about this, if you believe shows like this one, doesn't have to be this one, I would love it if it is, that if you believe shows like this are important, please try to consider supporting us directly. You can go to joinpacman.com. It's really cheap. We put up a bunch of extra content for our members. Sign up at joinpacman.com. You can use the coupon code SaveDemocracy24. That is what is at stake. I hate that that's where we are, but that's what's at stake. I'll have more information on this if I ever get it, and I may not. This may just be it. Bye-bye, permanently shadow banned.